In the video today, we're answering a viewer question because Mark R asks, where did the whole kids thing of saying guess what and answering with chicken butt come from? Well, Mark, here we go. An appropriate response to nearly any rhetorical playground question from what's up to guess what, chicken butt has been an important part of the childish lexicon for many decades. The retort's origins are usually speculated to have come from a practice common to street merchants when they would call out what they were offering and how much it cost. One particularly delicious item was advertised as chicken butt, 5 cents a cut. But in this sense, it didn't mean the back end of the bird, but rather its shoulder. Butchers would pack less desirable cuts like shoulders into barrels either to store them or to ship them. Barrels like these had been called butts since the late 14th century after the modern French word for a barrel or wineskin bottle and the Latin buttis for cask. Over time, the term was applied to the cuts of meat within the barrels as well. It's hard to verify when a chicken shoulder cost 5 cents, although historical data on the cost of a whole chicken is relatively easy to find. For instance, during the Roaring Twenties, hens were sold for between 36 cents and 38 cents per pound, which is about $4.43 today. But at the height of the Great Depression, the price of a hen had dropped to just 21 cents, which is about $3 today. One theory as to why the expression became so popular is tied to the 1930s. In 1935, George Gershwin's Porgy and Bess debuted, and in it, Maria compares sporting life to a chicken, invoking the merchant's chant, "I hate your strutting style. Yes, sir, and your goddamn silly smile. And your 10-cent diamonds and your 5-cent butts. Oh, I hate your guts." All that said, as far as we can find, there is no documented evidence of anything to the effect of what's up or guess what or any of the other many variants followed by chicken butt until Mississippian Charles G. Bell's 1962 novel The Married Land. In it we find, "But what as a boy he had spoken with boys, white and colored, when they ran and fought together. What chicken butt, come around the house and lick it up." Disregarding a rather uninteresting, though seemingly unrelated 1970 work, Psychoanalytic Study of the Child, Volume 25, in which one Ruth S. Eisler describes a girl named Naomi who uses some peculiar items such as chicken butt to mean sex and cookie to mean vagina, and is described as confusingly using words that she senses are somehow inaccurate. Next up in the known documented instances of this phrase, we have a rather telling instance appearing in the 1973 book Black Language by Malachi Andrews and Paul T. Owens. On page 73, it contains the following entry. Chicken butt. When someone calls out what because they didn't hear, a reply might be the rhyme chicken butt. It means forget it, I'm not going to repeat it. Junior flip usage. In the same year, it was noted in the National Education Association of the United States, Today's Education, volume 62-64, that at least some children were using chicken butt as a slang insult. "Mrs. Pratt, come check me off. I paid no attention and helped somebody else." He might yell again, "Mrs. Pratt." If I still paid no attention, he might mutter something about my being a chicken butt. Following that up, the next documented instance we could find of the general phrase in question was in the 1983 work The Black Nation. In volumes 3 to 5 of that work, the following appears. "Chicken cacciatore, chicken alla Wendy, chicken alla King, poor folks eat chicken feet, chicken necks, chicken gizzards, chicken stew with no chicken, chicken backs, say what, chicken butt? Don't you wish that all rich folks would turn into a plucked chicken and fly into a vat of hot grease and let us poor folks eat good for a while?" So from the documented evidence, and quite a bit of somewhat less reliable personal anecdotes, it would seem as if, whether actually connected to any early 20th century merchant slang as is commonly stated or not, the phrase and its variants originated in southern black American culture, at least as early as the 1960s and probably a bit before. However, if the documented evidence is any indication, this phrase didn't catch on among a wider audience until sometime in the late 1970s and 1980s, at which point it soon became a somewhat ubiquitous expression among all of the American youth, along with variants like guess what and rhyming offshoots like guess why chicken thigh and guess who chicken tattoo. And now for some bonus facts. Several years ago, an undercover video surfaced showing egg hatchery workers glibly tossing baby chicks into a grinder alive. An accepted industry practice called instantaneous euthanasia, it accounts for the slaughter of 200 million male chickens every year. The males were culled because they couldn't produce eggs and supposedly would be prohibitively expensive to raise as meat chickens. While acknowledging the situation wasn't ideal, a spokesperson for the United Egg Producers, Mitch Head, noted, "There is unfortunately no way to breed eggs that only produce female hens. If someone has a need for 200 million male chicks, we're happy to provide them to anyone who wants them, but we can find no market no need. He also noted that, while seemingly brutal, the use of the grinder is the most instantaneous way to euthanize chicks. However, things are looking up for male chicks, kind of. Technology has advanced so that it is possible to detect the sex of a chick very early on while it's still in the egg. Expected to be commercially viable soon, the egg producers industry group has recently announced that by 2020 they should be able to end the practice of grinding newborn baby chickens to death. Instead, they'll just sell the fertilized eggs as, well, eggs. So the question to you, dear viewer, is this: is it better to exist somewhat consciously for an exceptionally short amount of time, only to have your fate be to get snuffed out in a grinder shortly after emerging from your shell, or is it best to never really exist at all on a conscious level? You can't say we don't ask the important questions here at Today I Found Out, and I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and do not forget to subscribe. We've got brand new videos just like this every day of the week. If you're looking for something else from me, why not check out my other channel called Top 10s? You will find that linked to below. And as always, thank you for watching.